Eli had always loved the stars. He often told himself that one day he would do something important among them. For now, he was stationed at a small human outpost on the edge of a distant planetary system. It was not a grand station like those on Earth, but it was quiet and useful. Eli spent his days maintaining the communication arrays, repairing small machinery, and helping with daily tasks. Life was simple and it was peaceful, until the day everything changed. The alien ship arrived without warning. Its shape was unlike anything Eli had ever seen. It glowed faintly with soft colors that shifted across its surface. There were no engines like the ones humans used. Instead, the ship seemed to move, almost like it was alive, floating gently above the planet's surface. From it emerged creatures that were taller than Eli, with long limbs and glowing eyes that reflected curiosity more than fear. At first, Eli felt nervous. Humans were strangers to this region, and so were the aliens. He stepped forward carefully, holding his hands up in the universal gesture of peace. The aliens did not attack. They simply observed. One of them, smaller than the others, seemed weak and unsteady. Eli noticed that immediately. The small alien stumbled, almost falling, and the others rushed to support it. Its breathing was shallow, and it emitted soft sounds that Eli could not understand. The alien mother, the tallest of the group, looked at Eli and motioned urgently. Eli realized that they were asking for help. He did not know how to help. His training had prepared him for mechanical failures, communications breakdowns, and even minor medical emergencies among humans. But this was different. These aliens were living beings, and one of them was clearly in danger. He glanced at the instruments around the outpost and tried to understand if any of the medical devices could work. Nothing seemed compatible. The mother alien knelt beside her child and touched its chest. She made a sound that was almost musical, and the small alien's glow flickered weakly. Eli felt a surge of empathy. He had to do something. Thinking quickly, he remembered reading a study about interspecies blood compatibility in emergencies. It had been theoretical, but in extreme cases, some species could share certain blood components temporarily. He did not hesitate. "Okay," Eli said aloud, mostly to himself.
"We'll try this. It's the only way."
He prepared himself. The aliens watched, their glowing eyes wide with hope and fear. Eli took a deep breath, opened a sterile kit, and drew a small amount of his own blood. Then, carefully, he allowed it to be given to the alien child through a simple infusion device he adapted from human medical tools. He monitored every pulse, every flicker of the child's glow, and every sign of response. Time passed slowly, but finally, he noticed a change. The small alien stirred, its breathing became steadier, and its glow brightened just a little. Eli allowed himself a small sigh of relief. The mother alien's eyes reflected a mixture of gratitude and something he could not name. A deep, emotional connection that went beyond words. The other aliens surrounded him, their limbs extended in gestures he could not interpret fully, but he felt their appreciation. It was a quiet moment, filled with wonder. He had saved a life, but it was more than that. He had reached across a vast gap of understanding and shown kindness in the face of uncertainty. After the initial crisis passed, the aliens began communicating in their own way. Their language was musical, full of tones and rhythms. Eli listened carefully, trying to understand. Over time, he realized that they were inviting him to their ship. He hesitated at first, unsure if it was safe, but the mother alien gently guided him, as if saying, "We trust you." Inside the ship, everything was unlike anything Eli had imagined. The walls shimmered with light and the floor seemed soft, almost alive beneath his feet. Instruments floated gently in the air, and panels glowed with symbols that changed as he watched. The mother alien gestured for him to follow, leading him to a chamber where the child rested comfortably. Eli observed the child, noticing how much stronger it looked now. The mother alien sat beside her child and made soft, melodic sounds. She looked at Eli again, and this time there was no urgency. There was only gratitude. Eli realized that their customs were different. To them, the act of giving life was sacred, and those who gave it were honored in unique ways. Eli spent hours learning about their culture. He discovered that they valued empathy and cooperation above all. Life in their society was a shared responsibility. Every action that helped another being was considered noble. Eli felt a warm pride. Humans were often seen as curious, inventive, and brave. But here, his simple act of kindness had created a bridge between species. Days passed, and Eli became familiar with the alien ship and its crew. He helped repair some of their equipment using human engineering skills. The aliens watched him carefully, fascinated by the simple yet effective ways humans solved problems. They did not have the same technology, and their thinking was different, but they were quick learners. During this time, Eli and the child, Lyra, formed a quiet bond. She could not speak human words, but she responded to his presence, touching his hand with her small fingers and glowing warmly. Eli smiled at her and realized that the connection between species was not about language or appearance. It was about understanding, compassion, and trust. One evening, Eli stood on the observation deck of the ship, looking at the stars. He thought about how small he was in the vast universe, yet how much difference one person could make. Saving Lyra's life had been frightening, challenging, and unexpected. But it had also been the most important thing he had ever done. The mother alien joined him quietly. She did not speak in words, but Eli felt her presence. She seemed to convey respect and gratitude without any expectation beyond simple friendship and trust. Eli realized that this moment, simple, peaceful, and full of wonder, was the beginning of something much larger. He did not know what the future held. There were challenges ahead, mysteries to solve, and cultures to understand. But Eli knew one thing: humans had a place in the universe. Not through power, weapons, or dominance, but through kindness, empathy, and courage. Humanity's strength was in its heart as much as its mind. As the alien ship prepared to leave, the mother alien touched Eli's hand gently. He understood that this was not a goodbye, but the start of a lasting bond. Lyra waved her small hand, and Eli waved back, feeling a deep connection that crossed the boundaries of worlds. Eli watched the ship lift off, disappearing into the colors of the sky. He turned back to the outpost, thinking about the message he would send to Earth. Humans were capable of greatness, and even in the far reaches of space, they could touch lives in ways no one had imagined. He smiled. The stars seemed brighter tonight, and for the first time, Eli felt the universe was not vast and lonely. It was full of possibilities, connections, and hope. After the alien ship departed, Eli felt both excitement and responsibility. He had made a connection with a species far beyond human experience, and that connection carried weight. He spent hours reviewing the ship's data, trying to understand as much as he could. The alien technology was strange, yet brilliant, and he could see how curiosity and intelligence guided everything they built. It was a challenge, but one that Eli enjoyed. He returned to his usual routines at the outpost, yet things had changed. Eli noticed small signs of the aliens' influence everywhere. Devices he had never seen before appeared in the equipment logs, small adjustments the aliens had made to help him operate more efficiently. The outpost felt alive in a way it never had before. Eli smiled to himself, realizing that cooperation could improve even the simplest systems. One morning, as Eli worked on the communication arrays, a familiar hum filled the air. The alien ship had returned. This time, the group was larger, and Eli could see more of their community. He was nervous at first, but their approach was calm and deliberate. The mother alien stepped forward, her glowing eyes steady. Behind her, Lyra walked on her own, her steps confident and strong. She had grown since the last meeting, and Ellie could see the care and attention her mother had given her. The aliens communicated in their musical language, and Eli listened carefully. It was clear that they wanted him to visit the ship again. He followed them, feeling a mixture of excitement and curiosity. The ship welcomed him, its surfaces glowing softly, lights shifting in rhythm with the aliens' tones. Eli had learned to feel the patterns, and he understood the message. They wanted him to see something important. Inside the ship, Eli noticed a large chamber filled with floating devices and holographic displays. The aliens gestured for him to watch. Images appeared in the air, showing planets, stars, and systems he had never seen. They moved in harmony, telling a story of their history, of exploration, and of the challenges they had faced. Eli was fascinated. The aliens were intelligent, creative, and deeply aware of their universe. The mother alien stepped closer to Eli and touched his hand lightly. He felt warmth and an unspoken question. They wanted to know more about humans. Eli realized that this was an opportunity to show them the strengths of his species. He began explaining in simple terms about human technology, problem-solving skills, and culture. It was not easy. Words were limited, but he used gestures, diagrams, and examples. Slowly, the aliens began to understand. Eli could see the excitement in their glowing eyes. They asked questions through their musical tones, and Eli responded with careful explanations. He spoke of human curiosity, adaptability, and cooperation. The aliens listened intently, absorbing every detail. He realized that humans had qualities that could complement their own, and he felt proud to represent his species. During this visit, Lyra approached him with a small device in her hands. She touched his arm gently, as if offering it to him. Eli examined the device, realizing it was a tool for communication and learning. The child had learned from her mother, from the humans, and from her own curiosity. Eli smiled, understanding that knowledge could bridge worlds. Lyra's small gesture symbolized trust and friendship, and Eli knew it was a gift far greater than anything material. Over the next days, Eli worked closely with the aliens, helping them repair and optimize some of their systems. He discovered that human problem-solving could simplify some of their complex processes. The aliens adapted quickly, learning to integrate his suggestions without changing their own unique ways. It was a partnership built on respect, trust, and shared purpose. The mother alien observed silently, but Eli could sense her approval. She understood that humans were capable of more than physical strength or technology. They had empathy, creativity, and courage. These qualities allowed them to act when it mattered most, to make choices that saved lives and created bonds. Eli felt a deep sense of pride, knowing that a small act of kindness toward Lyra had opened the door to this connection. One day, while exploring a section of the ship, Eli noticed a holographic map of the nearby planetary system. A large area was marked with red zones, areas of instability that threatened alien settlements. Eli studied the map carefully, realizing that the problems were both environmental and technical. The aliens had attempted solutions, but nothing had worked completely. He gathered his notes and suggested a plan. His idea was simple: use human engineering principles, combined with their technology, to stabilize the areas. The aliens listened, curious and cautious. Eli demonstrated his ideas with small models, showing how balance, pressure, and controlled energy flow could resolve the instability. Slowly, the mother alien's eyes brightened, and the rest of the group nodded in agreement. The work began immediately. Eli coordinated with the aliens, combining their skills with his own knowledge. They moved carefully, adjusting energy flows, monitoring environmental patterns, and testing solutions. The process was delicate, and every step required patience and understanding. Eli could see the aliens learning quickly, adapting to the human approach while keeping their unique methods intact. Days turned into nights, though the concept of time was different aboard the alien ship. Eli worked tirelessly, motivated not by reward, but by the desire to help. Lyra often accompanied him, observing closely, asking questions in her musical tones. Eli took time to explain everything, teaching her about human thinking, problem-solving, and care. He realized that the child was absorbing knowledge quickly, her mind sharp and curious. Through their collaboration, the environmental instability began to decrease. Small successes gave confidence to the aliens. They started celebrating each achievement in their quiet, musical way. Eli felt joy as he watched them understand that humans could work alongside them, not as outsiders, but as partners. Every gesture, every shared moment, strengthened the bond between the species. One evening, Eli paused to rest. He looked out at the stars, feeling a sense of connection he had never known. The universe felt less lonely now. Humans were capable of kindness, innovation, and courage. And here, that capability mattered. He realized that heroism was not just about bravery in dangerous situations. It was about choosing to act, to care, and to create understanding across differences. The mother alien approached him again, her presence calm and reassuring. She did not speak in human words, but Eli understood her message clearly. She was grateful for his actions, for his teaching, and for his patience. In their culture, this gratitude was profound, not measured by gifts or obligations, but by trust and respect. Eli felt honored, knowing that he had earned this recognition without expecting anything in return. Lyra reached out to him once more, placing a small, glowing crystal in his hand. Eli examined it carefully, realizing that it was a symbol of learning, connection, and hope. The child's gesture was simple, yet powerful. Do. It reminded him why he had acted so quickly to save her life. One small act of compassion could ripple outward, changing lives and bridging worlds. As the work continued, Eli noticed that the aliens had begun observing human behavior more closely. They watched how he communicated, how he solved problems, and how he treated others. Eli felt a mix of pride and responsibility. Humans were being judged, not for their weapons or technology, but for their empathy, intelligence, and courage. He realized that humanity's reputation in the universe could grow in ways he had never imagined. Finally, after many days of effort, the instability in the alien colony was largely resolved. Systems functioned smoothly, energy flows were stable, and the environment became safer. The aliens celebrated in their musical way, surrounding Eli and Lyra. He felt warmth and joy, knowing that the partnership had succeeded. It was not a victory of force, but of understanding, patience, and collaboration. That night, as Eli prepared to rest, he thought about the future. Humans had a place among the stars, not through power or domination, but through kindness, intelligence, and cooperation. The bond with Lyra and her mother was just the beginning. There were countless species, countless worlds, each waiting to see what humans could offer. Eli smiled, feeling hope, pride, and excitement. The universe was vast, but humanity had a chance to make it brighter, safer, and more connected. Lyra curled up beside her mother, glowing softly in the quiet chamber. Eli watched them, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. He had acted out of instinct, compassion, and curiosity, and the results were beyond anything he could have imagined. One human, one act of kindness, had opened the door to a new era of understanding between species. As the stars twinkled beyond the ship's windows, Eli whispered to himself, "This is just the beginning." And he knew, in his heart, that it was true. Humanity had the power to inspire, to teach, and to connect, and that power was now shining brightly in a corner of the universe, far from Earth. The days after the success with the colony's environmental systems were filled with a quiet sense of accomplishment. Eli had grown used to the gentle hum of the alien ship, the soft glow of its walls, and the musical tones of the alien community. Lyra now ran through the corridors confidently, exploring every corner while the mother alien observed, ensuring the child's safety. Eli felt proud of how far they had all come, but he knew that in the universe, challenges never truly ended. One morning, a warning signal echoed throughout the ship. L.A. rushed to the observation chamber and looked at the holographic displays. A neighboring planet in the same system was showing signs of rapid environmental imbalance. Rivers were shifting, Weather patterns were changing unpredictably, and some of the settlements there were in danger. The mother alien looked at Eli, her glow pulsing with urgency. Eli understood immediately. Their help was needed again, and this time, the challenge was greater. The aliens explained the situation in their musical language. Eli could sense the complexity. The planet was unstable, and the usual methods of stabilization would not work. The energy flows were erratic, and any sudden interference could make matters worse. Eli knew that solving this problem would require creativity, patience, and careful planning. He felt a surge of determination. Humans had faced difficult problems before, and now they could show once again that their ingenuity mattered. Eli began analyzing the data. He noticed patterns in the planet's energy shifts, small cycles that repeated in ways that were predictable once understood. He explained his observations to the mother alien using gestures and diagrams. She listened carefully, her glowing eyes reflecting trust and hope. Eli suggested a plan that combined human engineering principles with alien energy control. It would require careful timing, precise coordination, and close attention to the planet's natural rhythms. The aliens agreed, and Eli immediately began organizing the work. They set up monitoring stations across the planet, using floating drones that moved silently through the air. Eli taught the aliens how to adjust the drone's sensors to detect subtle changes in energy flows. The child, Lyra, helped in small ways, carrying tiny tools and observing every step. She asked questions in her musical tones, and Eli answered patiently, explaining the logic behind each action. Over the next days, Eli worked alongside the aliens, adjusting energy stabilizers and testing different approaches. Each attempt brought small improvements, but the planet was still unstable. Eli realized that the solution would require thinking beyond conventional methods. He remembered how humans often combined observation, creativity, and intuition to solve problems, and he shared this idea with the aliens. Together, they began experimenting with new strategies. Eli suggested using the natural cycles of the planet, aligning the stabilizers with the energy peaks and lows. The aliens adapted his ideas to their technology, creating a system that responded dynamically to the planet's shifts. It was a delicate process requiring patience and cooperation. Eli watched as the aliens adjusted their instruments, their glowing hands moving gracefully, precise and careful.
As the system came online, small improvements appeared. Rivers shifted more predictably, winds became calmer, and the settlements started stabilizing.
The aliens celebrated quietly, their musical tones soft but joyful. Eli felt a deep satisfaction. They had worked together, combining human creativity with alien technology, and it had worked. One human, sharing knowledge and care, had helped an entire planet avoid disaster. Lyra ran to him, her glow bright with excitement. She mimicked his gestures and expressions, as if to show that she understood what had been accomplished. Eli laughed softly, realizing that she had learned not just techniques, but the human way of thinking, observing carefully, experimenting thoughtfully, and never giving up. The child's curiosity was inspiring, a reminder that knowledge and empathy could cross any boundary. The mother alien approached Eli. She did not speak in words, but he understood her message. She wanted to honor his contribution and the lessons he had shared. Eli felt proud, but he shook his head gently. He did not need recognition or reward. Helping, teaching, and connecting were reward enough. He smiled at her, and she nodded, understanding the depth of his intent. Eli spent more time teaching the aliens about human innovation. He showed them how small adjustments, creative thinking, and observation could solve problems that seemed impossible. The aliens were eager students, absorbing every idea. They asked questions, challenged assumptions, and offered their own insights. Eli realized that this exchange of knowledge was more valuable than any technology or resource. It built trust, understanding, and mutual respect. One evening, while monitoring the planet from the ship, Eli noticed that one of the energy stabilizers was fluctuating unexpectedly. The system was designed to adapt automatically, but the anomaly was unusual. He studied the data carefully, tracking the pattern and considering solutions. Then he saw it. The planet's natural energy had a hidden rhythm, subtle but consistent. Aligning the stabilizer with this rhythm could stabilize the entire system. Eli worked quickly, adjusting the controls with the help of the aliens. They moved as one, following his lead while using their technology to refine the approach. Slowly, the planet's energy flows began to stabilize. Rivers and winds settled into predictable patterns, and the settlements were safe. The aliens' musical tones rose in celebration, gentle but full of joy. Eli felt a surge of pride and relief. The mother alien placed a hand on Eli's shoulder, a gesture of respect and gratitude. Eli understood that he had earned their trust not through force, but through patience, knowledge, and care. He realized that humans' greatest strength was not their weapons or power, but their ability to think, learn, and act with empathy. This lesson, he knew, would shape how the aliens saw humans in the future. After the crisis, Eli spent time exploring the alien ship and learning more about their culture. He discovered that their society valued collaboration and knowledge above all. Every action that helped another being was considered noble. Humans, with their curiosity, ingenuity, and empathy, fit perfectly into this philosophy. Eli felt a sense of pride and belonging, knowing that he had helped build a bridge between two very different worlds. Lyra ran through the corridors, laughing softly as she played with small tools and devices. Eli watched her, thinking about how much she had grown since he first met her. She had learned quickly, not just about technology, but about trust, friendship, and understanding. Eli smiled, realizing that the child was a symbol of hope for both species. Her curiosity and intelligence were a reminder that the future could be bright if humans and aliens worked together. The mother alien invited Eli to a quiet chamber where soft lights illuminated the room. She gestured for him to sit and then shared images of distant worlds, showing challenges that other planets faced. Eli realized that his work was far from over. The universe was full of problems waiting to be solved, but he was no longer alone. Humans had allies, and together they could make a difference. Eli spent long hours planning future missions. He worked with the aliens to develop systems that combined human adaptability with alien technology. They discussed energy management, environmental stabilization, and communication networks. Every discussion brought new ideas, new possibilities. Eli felt excitement for the first time in months. He knew that humans had the ability to help in ways no one had imagined, and he was eager to continue. During one quiet moment, Lyra approached him and placed a small holographic device in his hands. It displayed patterns of energy flows from the planets they had stabilized. Eli realized that she was sharing her observations, showing him that she had learned to track changes and understand patterns. He felt a deep sense of pride. The child had learned the human way of thinking: observe carefully, experiment thoughtfully, and never give up. As the days passed, Eli noticed a change in the aliens' perception of humans. They were no longer merely observers of human actions. They were partners. They sought advice, shared ideas, and trusted humans to contribute meaningfully. Eli understood that humanity's reputation was growing, not through force or domination, but through knowledge, empathy, and courage. One evening, as the ship floated silently among the stars, Eli reflected on all that had happened. A simple act of compassion, giving blood to save a child, had led to an entire planet being stabilized and a lasting partnership formed. Humans had shown that they could act with care, intelligence, and courage, creating bonds that crossed the boundaries of species. Lyra curled up beside her mother, her glow soft and steady. Eli watched them, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. He had helped them not through force, but through understanding and collaboration. One human, acting with empathy and creativity, had changed lives, strengthened a species, and built trust across worlds. Eli smiled, thinking of the future. The universe was vast, full of challenges and mysteries, but humans had the power to make a difference. They could inspire, teach, and connect in ways that no one had expected. And for Eli, the journey had only just begun. After weeks of collaboration, Eli had grown deeply connected with the alien community. He knew their routines, understood their language in small ways, and had earned their trust through countless hours of patience and shared work. Lyra now ran freely through the ship, laughing and glowing brightly, a living symbol of the bond between their species. Eli watched her with pride, knowing that one simple act, saving her life, had sparked a chain of friendship and trust that would last far longer than any mission or experiment. The day began quietly aboard the ship. Eli walked through the corridors, checking the monitoring stations they had installed on the neighboring planets. Each system hummed steadily, showing that stability had been achieved. The planets that had once teetered on the edge of chaos were now calm, their settlements secure. The aliens celebrated quietly, their musical tones gentle yet joyful, and Eli could sense their appreciation. The mother alien approached him with a small device. Its glow pulsed rhythmically, and Eli realized it was an invitation to view a message. He activated it, and a holographic map of the surrounding star systems appeared. The aliens pointed to distant planets, showing regions where life faced challenges, where their own kind needed help, and where the presence of humans could make a difference. Eli felt both excitement and responsibility. The universe was vast, but humans had a place in it, and their help was valued. Eli spent the day planning new missions, discussing strategies with the aliens, and preparing for coordinated efforts across multiple worlds. They shared ideas freely, combining human adaptability with alien technology and experience. He realized that their partnership was growing stronger, and that the trust they had built could lead to discoveries and achievements far beyond what either species could do alone. Lyra ran up to him, holding a small, glowing crystal. She gestured toward the planets on the holographic map, then looked at Eli, her eyes bright with curiosity. Eli knelt beside her, explaining as best as he could the challenges those worlds faced and how they might work together to help. The child listened carefully, absorbing information quickly, her small fingers tracing paths on the map. Eli smiled, realizing that she was learning not just about technology, but about compassion, problem-solving, and cooperation. The mother alien approached and placed a hand gently on Eli's shoulder. There was no spoken word, but Eli understood. She was showing respect and gratitude, acknowledging his role not only in saving Lyra's life, but also in teaching and inspiring their community. Eli felt a deep sense of pride, not in personal glory, but in knowing that humans could make a meaningful impact. Over the next days, Eli coordinated efforts to improve systems on several planets. Each mission was a careful mix of observation, planning, and hands-on work. Human ingenuity and adaptability complemented the aliens' advanced technology. Together, they stabilized environments, repaired critical systems, and shared knowledge that would prevent future problems. Every success strengthened the bond between species, and Eli noticed how the aliens' perception of humans was changing. They were no longer outsiders or strangers. They were partners, collaborators, and friends. She was a quick learner, absorbing ideas about energy flow, environmental management, and technology. He encouraged her curiosity, asking questions and offering guidance without ever giving direct answers. Lyra's mind worked differently than his, but she learned quickly, experimenting and observing as Eli had taught her. He realized that the child represented hope, not just for her people, but for the future of human-alien cooperation. One evening, as Eli walked along the observation deck of the ship, he looked out at the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly, vast and silent, yet full of life and potential. He thought about the journey that had begun with a simple act of kindness, giving blood to save a child, and how it had grown into something much larger. Humans had a place in the universe, not through force or dominance, but through compassion, intelligence, and courage. The mother alien joined him quietly. She gestured toward the stars, then toward him, conveying a message he could feel rather than hear. They trusted humans, she said. They valued the choices humans made to help, to teach, and to understand. Eli nodded, understanding that this trust was fragile and precious, earned through consistent action and care. He felt a sense of responsibility, knowing that humans' future interactions with alien species would be shaped by the example he had set. Lyra came running, carrying a small device. She placed it in Eli's hands, and a soft light emerged. The device displayed patterns of energy flows, environmental readings, and small improvements across the planets they had helped. Eli realized that this was Lyra's way of sharing knowledge, showing him that she understood the systems, the processes, and the impact of their work. He smiled warmly, touched by the child's growth and curiosity. The mother alien gestured toward Eli's own home planet, Earth, in a way that suggested communication and cooperation. Eli understood the importance of this gesture. Humans could now send knowledge, aid, and understanding across interstellar distances, forging bonds that would strengthen peace and collaboration. The responsibility was immense. But Eli felt ready. Humans had already proven that they could act with empathy, creativity, and intelligence. The aliens decided to hold a small ceremony in Eli's honor. There was no pomp or grandeur, only a quiet gathering where each gesture, each musical tone, and each glow of light carried meaning. Eli stood among them, feeling a sense of humility. He had acted without expectation of reward, and yet the respect and gratitude of the aliens filled him with warmth. He realized that true heroism was not about recognition. It was about doing what was right, even when no one was watching. During the ceremony, Lyra approached Eli once more. She held out a small crystal, its light, steady, and bright. Eli took it carefully. It was a symbol, a gift from the child whose life he had saved, representing trust, hope, and the bond between their species. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that one simple act of compassion had created ripples far beyond what he could have imagined. As the ceremony ended, Eli looked at the stars again. He thought about all the worlds they had helped, all the lives touched, and all the lessons shared. Humans had the power to make a difference, not through power, weapons, or force, but through intelligence, empathy, and courage. Eli felt proud of his species, proud that humanity could act as a force for good in a universe full of possibilities. The mother alien placed a hand gently on Eli's shoulder, and he felt a deep connection, a silent promise that the partnership between humans and her people would continue. Lyra ran to him and hugged his leg, her glow warm and steady. Eli laughed softly, feeling joy and hope in a way he never had before. The universe was vast, but he no longer felt alone. Humans had found a place among the stars, and the bonds they had formed would shape the future. In the following days, Eli worked with the aliens to create a system for ongoing cooperation. They developed communication networks, knowledge-sharing protocols, and environmental monitoring systems that would allow both species to assist one another in times of need. Eli taught the aliens how to adapt quickly, experiment thoughtfully, and make decisions with care. The aliens, in turn, shared their knowledge of the universe, of energy flows, and of life beyond what humans had ever imagined. Through these efforts, humans and aliens began building a lasting partnership. They discovered that together they could solve problems that neither could face alone. The bond formed through compassion, creativity, and trust became the foundation for future collaboration across multiple worlds. Eli felt a sense of purpose and satisfaction, knowing that his actions had contributed to something much larger than himself. One quiet evening, Eli stood with Lyra and her mother on the observation deck, watching a distant nebula glow with shifting colors. Lyra pointed to the patterns of light, her excitement clear, and Eli explained what he knew about the stars, the planets, and the energy that flowed between them. The mother Ava listened silently, but Eli could feel her pride. He had shown that humans were capable of compassion, intelligence, and courage, and that those qualities could change lives and build bridges across the universe. As the ship prepared for its next journey, Ellie felt a deep sense of peace. The child he had saved was healthy and thriving. The aliens had learned from humans, and humans had learned from aliens. The universe was vast and full of challenges, but humans had proven that they could make a difference. Eli smiled, knowing that one act of kindness had set in motion a future of hope, learning, and cooperation. The ship rose slowly into the stars, carrying humans and aliens together on new adventures. Eli looked at Lyra, glowing brightly, and realized that the future was full of possibilities. Humans had earned their place among the stars, not through domination, but through understanding, empathy, and courage. The bond they had built would grow stronger with time, and their story would be remembered not for conflict, but for the power of kindness and ingenuity. Eli took a deep breath and looked at the horizon of space. He knew that this was only the beginning. Many worlds awaited, many lives could be touched, and many challenges could be solved. But he also knew that humanity's greatest strength lay not in technology alone, but in the ability to care, to think, and to act with courage and empathy. And as the stars stretched endlessly before him, Ellie felt hope, pride, and excitement for the future. The universe was vast, but humans had a place in it. They could inspire, teach, and connect, building bonds that would last for generations. Eli smiled at Lyra and her mother, knowing that their friendship, trust, and shared experience would shape the universe in ways no one could have imagined. The child laughed softly, her glow bright and steady. The mother alien touched Eli's hand gently, a gesture of trust and gratitude. Eli looked at the stars, feeling that humanity had made its mark, not through power, but through kindness, intelligence, and courage. And in that moment, he knew that the universe had never felt more full of possibility, promise, and hope.